Yo guys, welcome back to this new video we're going to be making today, and it's going to be about why you need a partner, a brotherhood, somebody in your life that you can really traverse through with. Because I feel like a lot of people in this world try to just, go by it yourself, put the gym hoodie on, kind of just hit the workout. Oh, let me start this business, let me do this by myself. And I feel like that's good. You could do things by yourself. Nobody's saying you can't. But I feel like people can go 10 times farther in life if they have somebody to go throughout with life. And here's why I say that. Because someone like me, I started going to the gym around 4 months ago, pretty much every day. As long as something doesn't happen, I go to the gym. Like, you just ask the people that go there, they'll tell you. I'm like the regular, but they don't know me, but whatever. So like I said, when it comes to the gym, imagine having a gym partner. You go with the guy. I got him most times, not all the time, because he's a little lazy. But going with him to the gym, it's like, okay, well, I need help with my PR. He's not gonna let me die. Like, I was hitting some PRs yesterday, and let's be honest. Like, if he wasn't there, the 145-pound bench press would have, can't say that, it would have not been good, It would
have eliminated you.
It would have eliminated me. I would have been back in the lobby, but yeah. It's like, so that right there's one instance of why you need somebody in your life when it comes to the gym. It also makes it more fun, especially, obviously we go to a little small community gym, so can't really talk too loud because everybody can hear you. But imagine you go to like those bigger gyms, you got somebody, you can feel free to talk. Just socializing with somebody in general, it's just healthy. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that, and that's the reason why a lot of people quit, is because there's not someone there for them, especially in the gym scenario.
Yeah. Honestly, to kind of add to that point too, when I used to go to the gym when I was in high school, about 3 years ago, I had one of my friends that was my gym partner. Relax. One of my gym partners was one of my friends that I met in high school. We got together senior year, and every day after school we used to go to the gym. Like every day, no questions asked. Monday through Friday we were there, hitting a workout. It was fun. It was engaging. He was teaching me a lot about the gym. He, we also used to talk a lot about, pretty much anything. So, that was probably one of the most like engaging, fun times to go to the gym too, because it was easy. There was really no like excuses not to go. You wanted to go. A lot of times, going to the gym feels like a chore. It feels like a task that you just don't really want to do every day. And you just kind of have to change that mentality. If you have somebody that you get along with, that you have that vibe with, that you can just kind of hold a conversation with while you're in the gym, it's definitely going to make your gym journey a lot easier. Honestly, it's not supposed to be easy, but just kind of make you show up a little bit more than you would technically by yourself if you're not really feeling motivated or dedicated, any given day. So I would say for me, it definitely made the biggest impact. Like I was never the guy that was going to go to the gym by myself. That's for a fact. I was too scared. I know a lot of people when they first start, it's uncomfortable. They feel scared. Like they don't really feel like they want to go by themselves. Like it's kind of awkward, and having somebody that I could go with, maybe someone that has a little bit more experience than you do, it doesn't really have to be that way, but just kind of give you that little head start to kind of, get you going. Yeah. That's going to make the world difference right there for me.
Even with somebody that doesn't have an experience, two guys looking dumb is better than one guy looking dumb, it just kind of helps with your anxiety.
I don't know about that one.
It kind of helps with your anxiety though, if you know what I mean. But that also translate into not just the gym. Let's say that you want to start a business. Let's say you want to start doing something financially. A lot of people don't have a lot of money these days. Sometimes it can be hard to have enough money to start that business you want to start, or have enough time to start that business. And I feel like if you have somebody that you trust with your life, like some people do, or maybe just somebody you're just really, really connected with, I feel like starting that business, starting that adventure can just be so much easier, because maybe one of you has the money, maybe one of you has the time, and you're able to, get together, be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you money, you're gonna put time in, and that way that you guys can start doing something, eventually you guys can get out of the situation you're in. And some people don't have that or don't want to have that, but it's kind of like, you know, if you're sitting there working 60 hours a week and you ain't got no time to do nothing, but you know a friend of yours that might just be just as smart as you, just as, you know, able as you are, but has a lot more time in their hand, and that's someone that you can get with if you know them especially really well, to be able to start something. Like me and him, you know, I know him, he's able, you know, sometimes he don't got the money to do things that I do, but guess what, that's why I'm here, you know. I sound like, if we ever have a business idea that we want to start something, like I'm the guy that's gonna give the money, you know, and I want him to be able to put the time in. Like I said, not all the times are we gonna be able to click, or most people in general, they're not always gonna click super hard, and that can also lead to disagreements, arguments. But that's kind of just the natural thing, you know. You're not just gonna be 100%, you know, just have everything done the right way when you first start doing things with people. Whether it's the gym, you know, you guys might not agree with the time you go, maybe the workouts you're doing, but you know, eventually you're gonna get used to it. You guys are gonna, you know, talk to each other. Hey, listen, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, figure it out. When it comes to business, oh, this is what I want, this is what you want to do, let's meet in the middle, let's do something about it. But as long as you have somebody that, you know, can just give you that brain power, that, you know, time, money, effort, whatever it might be, it can really take you way farther in life than you can by yourself. And especially if it's that one badass motherfucker that you can just, you know, fucking grind and do shit with. Like, you know, me and him, we haven't really started anything business wise, but this is it. I mean, technically this is a business, you know.
Yeah,
we started something, and you know, it took way too long, in my opinion, to do this, but we did it. And, you know,
it's a step in the right direction. You know, no one's really gonna give you shit for trying. You know, just think about it like this, man. Like, you know, one person can't do everything. You know, there's a reason why all these businesses have so many different people that do and specialize in all these different things. And it's for a reason. You know, some people are good at one thing, some people are good at another. Just like, you know, he has money, I don't. And in regards of maybe time, he might have some less time than I do. I might have more than him, so I can kind of help him with that. You know, it's really just helping each other out in whatever way possible, just to kind of, like, you know, move forward and get out of the situation you're in. You know, again, it's a lot easier, you know, again, going to the gym, guy with the hoodie on, just doing his own thing. You know, again, if you had nobody to spot you yesterday, you would have been cooked, dude.
It's over. It's over.
You know, but that's kind of what you're there. You know, just that little help and support. You know, that extra little bit of motivation, maybe discipline. Just kind of discipline you when it comes to the gym. Show you, you know, a couple things. Maybe you could show me a couple things. Again, just support in general. It just comes a long way for sure. So you definitely want to have someone in your life that you can, and if you do, that you can count on. You know, with a lot of things. You know, with your money, your time, and everything. You know. And trust me, you'll get a lot of things done a lot faster. You know, I think about the situation I'm in, which is, you know, not necessarily the greatest right now, and I'm working really hard to get my way out of it. And I just think about the situation he's in. You know, he's in a whole lot better situation than I'm in. And if I didn't have him, you know, it feel like I'd probably never get out of the situation I'm in. You know, he helps me with a lot of things, especially money-wise. So, you know, just kind of thinking about that, you know, I'll probably get out of my situation a whole lot faster and easier than if I didn't have him, you know. So it definitely makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's just having one person's good, having multiple is great, but, you know, you can't just have like 10 people that you count on to do something, because realistically you're kind of like overstretching yourself. I think the sweet number is just 4 badass motherfuckers, bro. 4 badass motherfuckers, bro. They can conquer a whole country if they want to do that. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're kind of working on like our friends and who we have. We have two good friends that, you know, probably be good for business and also for gym and stuff like that. But as of right now, you know, they're kind of doing their own thing, and it's just kind of me and him. You know, it's easier because we're brothers versus like obviously a friend. But yeah, it's just, you need people in your life to be able to get farther. So kind of just find somebody, grind with them.
Yeah, find a group, find a community. I mean, hopefully once we get kind of going off here, you know, we start, you know, getting more engagement here, maybe in the comment section, subscribers, maybe we'll create a whole community for you guys as well. Just try to create a little bit more engagement and just kind of keep, you know, keep ourselves accountable in here, you know, and just, you know, help each other out in any way possible, you know?
Yeah, find your next business partner, find your next gym partner, whatever it might be, you know.
If you got to FaceTime the guy while you're at the gym, man, I've seen it done. I've seen the guy prop the tablet in the bottom of the gym while he's doing the exercise, and he's just there with the guy.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. I've never seen that before.
There's
no excuses. If what you just told me is true, there's no excuses. And then also, just like, dude, when it comes to business, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, most businesses probably take little or no money, especially if it's like an online business. But you know, obviously there's more in-person businesses. I don't know, pool cleaning, bro. My mom always loves talking about pool cleaning. But if I was to start a pool cleaning business, like, you know, we both could do it, you know. Do we want to do it? Probably not. But, you know, we got our own things figured out, or trying to figure out. Of course, you know, there's a YouTube channel. I'm looking into being an accountant. He's probably looking at some trades. But listen, we can complement each other with everything we do. So that's pretty much the whole gist of this video. Find somebody, stick with them, find multiple people, get them to grind, make them make you grind. And trust me, you'll make it a lot farther than just being by yourself. And with that being said, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.